Haas Mortgage Investors, the U10 out of Las Vegas, Nevada. The U17, Kip Brown and the R-Gang Racing. The U48, Albert Lee presents Lake Ridge Paving, and the U100, MirageBoats.com.
Interesting thing about this matchup in 2C, the closest thing to a front runner is the U10, the blue and yellow Haas Mortgage Investors boat, owned by Kim and Debbie Gregory out of Las Vegas, Nevada, and David Bryant, normally just a tick behind the front runners in this sport. In this field, Mark, he really should dominate. If David Bryant doesn't win this heat, I'm thinking he'll have some explaining to do.
And we'll also notice that Kip Brown will be starting on the outside, a rookie driver, just qualified as a driver. In fact, going into this morning's heat, needed one more lap, got that in his earlier heat. But that was yesterday, but he's now still considered a rookie, and the officials will be keeping an eye on him both from the helicopter and from the judges' stand. But rookies need to start on the outside and back just a little ways until the officials tell them, yeah, you can go racing. And usually they do that a little bit at a time. So they would move Kip in, tell him, yeah, you can go up on the front line this time, but you still have to be outside. And he will follow those instructions as a rookie till they're ready to turn him loose.
It should be interesting to watch the other three. This boat right here, driven by Greg Hopp, a wily veteran, but his boat getting a little bit long in the tooth. He'll be racing against David Williams in the Lake Ridge Paving, and the boat that Mark just talked about, the U17 that went by your picture a moment ago. It should be all David Bryant in the blue and yellow U10 Haas Mortgage Investors. We don't normally predict a winner, but he seems to have this field covered, Mark.
Let's take a look at the drivers at this point and our boats that are on the race course for Heat 2C. We just talked about David Bryant in the U10 Haas Mortgage Investors, and we've got all four of the boats out on the race course right now.
Should be the favorite, as we said. Kip Brown will be way on the outside. The rookie just qualified yesterday in the U17, racing as Our Gang Racing out of Preston, Washington, for Uncle Nate Brown.
David Williams, the U48, Albert Lee presents Lake Ridge Paving. David is the executive director of the Hydroplane and Race Boat Museum, has done an awful lot of racing of the old shovel nose hydroplanes, and just a couple of years now into the modern unlimited turbines.
And an interesting boat to watch will be Greg Hopp in the U100 Mirage Boats, the boat that appears to be all blue on the water right there. Kind of a strange Fred Leland concoction of a cowling. You can always spot those in recent years, different ways to get air to the turbine engine. Greg theoretically might be able to run up in second place in this heat, but we'll see. As we've said, David Bryant should put the blue and yellow U10 out front, and the other three, we would expect a pretty good race for second place. So we'll see, Mark, how that shakes out. After saying all that, Bryant will probably run fourth in this heat.
Well, Greg Hopp just popped out onto the race course on the front stretch and just about took out a buoy or two, but that's, of course, that's pretty typical of Greg. He runs right on the front line, and usually going around the turns, he could reach out and touch those buoys if he felt like doing it. We're watching Kip Brown going up the back stretch with about 1 minute and 16 seconds to go before the start of Heat 2C.
Now we have an interesting development already, because David Williams in the boat that appears to be yellow, it's actually kind of yellow and black, dark green, the Lake Ridge Paving. You're looking right now at Kip Brown coming down the front straightaway. He's trailing the other three boats. When we go over to them on the backstretch, I think David Williams might have the inside here, Mark, and we have not seen him in there previously. Well, now I believe he swung out a little bit, and he's going to let David Bryant have it. Maybe he'll take lane 2 and join that race for second place. You're looking at Greg Hopp. He's in third place now, coming up the backstretch, behind the other two that we mentioned, the Lake Ridge Paving and the Haas Mortgage. They appear to have lanes 1 and 2, and we'll have to see here where Greg finds a slot to fit in there.
Greg's going to be a tired guy at the end of the day, because he's racing an unlimited light as well as the UL 15, so he's going to be a tired boy after all the heat racing today.
I was interested to see.
Kip Brown seems to have gone dead in the water.
Is that him way over by the beach? My gosh, he's going to hit the rocks over there. And we're only going to have a 3-boat race. It is going to be David Bryant if he makes a good start. What if he jumped the gun here, Mark?
That wouldn't be good.
Well, it's not going to happen. He's got 2, 1, 0. It's a safe, easy start for David Bryant, and a pretty good race for second place already as Greg Hopp on the outside goes by David Williams. But those two into the first turn. I think I heard some compressor stalling aboard Bryant's boat. boat. We'll have to see if he's healthy coming out of this turn.
Into the Blue Bridge turn they go. It's David Bryant on the inside. In the middle, it's David Williams, and David Bryant already a full rooster tail lead over the other two boats. But the second place race, that's going to be a barn burner. We've got Greg Hopp on the outside and David Williams on the inside for second place, and they are dead even as they head up the backstretch.
I think Greg will leave a lot of room for David out there. Look at David's old boat pick it up. He's got some boat speed in the Lake Ridge paving, and he's going to move up ahead now of Greg Hopp and take second place, at least temporarily. Going to be a good one to watch. David Bryant, meanwhile, not a factor. He's way out there in the Haas Mortgage. He's going to run away from the rest of the field as we thought he would, and we're going to have a dandy matchup here for second place as David Williams turns toward us now. You're watching Bryant come down to finish lap 1. Back behind him, Greg Hopp is chasing David Williams, and David Williams may be driving the best heat we've seen in his 2-year career, Mark.
Well, and the boat is running better than we've seen it in a long, long time, too. A full rooster tail lead. Greg Hopp, you're looking at him in third place, just finishing lap number 1, and he's trying to track down David Williams in the Albert Lee Presents Lake Ridge Paving, but he's not getting any ground on it, and this time you're looking at David Bryant as he's already off the Blue Bridge turn as the other two boats enter that turn, and David Bryant with this race well in hand. He's just got to keep it going. He's almost halfway up the backstretch, about a half a backstretch lead over David Williams.
And David Bryant has run a lap and a half in the Haas Mortgage boat, so he's halfway home. And David Williams doing a nice job now. The old Lake Ridge paving, that's a former Leland hull. The boat behind him is a newer Leland hull, actually, the U100 Mirage boats, and it looks like David Williams is going to have a little too much race boat for Greg Hopp. He has control now of second place as we look at David Bryant coming down to complete lap 2.
David Bryant well in hand with this one. He can cruise along, but he doesn't want to take anything for granted. He's got to keep the boat running for another full lap as we look at the west turn, and David Williams in the Albert Lee Presents Lake Ridge Paving, and he now has more than a full boat length lead over Greg Hopp, but Greg has moved to the inside. See if he can track down David Williams. He's only got a lap in which to do it, though. That's not a lot of time.
Well, he will have an advantage into this turn because Williams is going to run out in lane 2 or 3, and Greg on the inside will have a little shorter race course, but he has a lot of water to make up. I always wonder, Mark, what Fred Leland thinks when he looks out there and sees his oldest race boat among the many that he has built leading his newest. Kind of a strange thing going on there.
Just how the boats get prepared and the teams that own them. David Bryant way out ahead. He's just about to the west turn here with the checkered flag flying, looking for a heat win in Heat 2C on lap number 3. The other boats just halfway up the backstretch. David Williams now cruising toward the western turn, and Greg Hopp well behind him, several rooster tails behind. David Bryant. Oh, David Williams spun the boat out. He spun the boat out.
Lake Ridge Paving spun as he entered the turn. He appears to be okay. The boat is right side up. It did lose power. We'll see if he can restart and finish, and that would be critical because 225 points would be a major factor here. David Williams was doing a great job. He had it out ahead of Greg Hopp. He is spooling it up and getting restarted, so Hopp will move up. The boat you're looking at now will take second place and 300 points, and those are 300 very valuable points. David Williams up in the left-hand turn is trying to get the Lake Ridge Paving back underway. He has some time to do that. If the boat has not been damaged and he can get it restarted and get around here to the start-finish line, he will pick up some very important points.
Very interesting as David Williams went into that turn. The boat came up out of the water, just hooked it a little bit, and the whole boat just spun like it was on an axis.
I think David was driving a little harder than we've seen him previously. He had a chance to pick up second place points. He was driving very well, very hard, going for that. And it'll be too bad now if he's going to score a 0 as a result of a DNF. He has the strobe turned on, which is the way he tells the officials that he's okay. And we have to hope the boat is. Sometimes you do a little damage when you spin them like that. But he made an attempt to get it restarted, Mark, and I think he's pretty much given up on that now as the hatch is opening and the race is over, unfortunately, for David Williams and the Lake Ridge Paving.
Let's take a look at David going through that turn one more time.
He looks fine right here, but the left side comes up just a little bit, and then you see the back end start to swing around. He can't get it under control, and he completes the spin. Just a little too sharp a turn, Mark, right at the exit pin.
Well, he's very lucky that he spun that direction, not the other one, because he would have flipped over sideways and barrel rolled the boat. Instead, he's right side up. We can hope that there's no damage to the boat. The strobe light tells you that David's okay, and so they can get back into racing in heat 3.
I said exit pin, and of course I meant entrance pin. He had come down the straightaway, came to the yellow buoy that marks the entrance of the turn. As he turned it left, it got a little out of shape, unfortunately spun. Appears to be okay. We hope the boat is as well, and unfortunately that little incident cost him 300 points, and those are very valuable when you're totaling the points toward the end of the day. But by the way, I want to do a little bookkeeping. We've been talking about Heat 1A. Did or did not Jeff Bernard jump the gun in the formulaboats.com? We finally have a decision. He was good. His start was okay, so he finishes third instead of fourth. So it's third to Jeff Bernard, fourth goes to Brian Perkins in Miss Albert Lee. We looked at one start that was pretty close. This one apparently was even closer.
Time to take a little chat with our winning driver, David Bryant. Scott Reister, you got him.
Yeah, that's right. Winning driver David Bryant, second yesterday in the heat, but today feels pretty good. First place, huh?
Yeah, it feels really good. A little windy down there. Of course, it was a little rough, but tried a couple new things, and boat ran good.
Now, a heat like that, when you pretty much went way ahead early on, what can you do? Did you test that a little bit?
Yeah, just try some different lanes to see what the water's going to be like in the, when the main comes around. We only had 4 boats out there, so it's not going to be quite the same as the main with 7, but just trying a few things, see how it works.
Yeah, and what'd you find out?
The boat worked pretty good. And it's this turn down here is always really rough, and the upper turn is just beautiful. So you got to give up one and get the other.
You get tired after these heats, man? You're not even like sweating at all.
I'm sweating.
Okay.
It's a little warm out there, but it's just another day in the track.
All right, well, he's got great spirits, and why not? Winner of Heat 2C. Now we go back to Mark and Steve.
Thank you, Scott. And Mark, we should mention that the point where David Williams had his problem is quite often the roughest point in the race course. You and I sat here and watched Dave Villwalk get in the air and go over right there. It looks pretty good to us on the straightaway right now. You heard David Bryan mention that's a little bit rough, and usually the roughest spot on the race course is right where David Williams